Gonna start streaming. And then hello everybody. I'm just trying to figure out how do we go into this slide share, because now we are streaming for the first time. Okay. I hope people can see us on LinkedIn. Yeah. Hello. So I have Vanessa here who will help me with the chat and the comments on LinkedIn. I'm still trying to figure it out. My name is Anya Soto. I'm the co-founder of Culture Crafters Global Training Company, D&I consultant. I've been coaching for the past 10 years, and I'm super passionate about leadership development and how do we develop talent. We know now with this mass exodus, global quit, people employee attrition, all the companies are struggling with retaining talent, with hiring talent, with training talent, whatever you call it. So I wanted to share a couple of stats, which I'm sure I don't even need to share with you. 1 in 5 workers quit in the last 6 months. And I'm sure you see it with your friends, you see it with your families, you see it with your employees. Maybe you yourself quit in the last 6 months. 82% of companies needed help with talent acquisition and retention. And we see this all the time. If a year ago, there was so much work around inclusion, diversity, belonging, that now our company is working with so many clients on talent strategies, talent optimization, retention of employees. So the companies that are successful are going to be the companies who are really agile and responsive to what is needed right now. Another statistic I just read the other day was that 1/3 of new employees quit in 6 months. Just think about the cost that it has. I believe they say it takes about 6 months, half of annual salary to replace an employee when they quit. So this is hopefully convinces you that it's time to create talent strategies. And if HR are not your business partners yet, if HR who are working on talent strategy are not at the tables where decisions are being made, I think it's fair to say that they need to be invited. Great Resignation is really about talent optimization. The way we see it right now is training your people, and I'll share 5 pillars. What are the 5 most important best practices for all of you to start implementing and developing within your organizations? So why are people quitting? What are they looking for? Right? What's missing in their companies? Are your managers talking to their people? Do they know them? What is happening? What's causing it? And I think the reasons are different for everyone. I feel for myself and everybody I know, the last year was kind of like a collective midlife crisis where we all had so much time. We couldn't travel, we couldn't go out, we couldn't be busy like we used to be. And we all started thinking about like what's important. Time is the only asset we all have, and people are really careful with who they spend their time with, where, what companies are they working for? Are they aligned with the company's mission? Do they feel like this is where they belong and this is good for them? So here are 5 things that I will be talking about today, and I'll be happy to share some of the slides. Team agreements. Team agreements is all about designing teams. So whether you're growing, scaling, or your company has been around forever, who are on your teams? How are these teams being created? How are they working cross-functionally, right? Then we talk about psychological safety. People want to feel safe physically going back into workplaces, but they also want to feel safe psychologically. And we will dive a little bit into this. What does that mean? Like, do people share ideas? Do people feel they can be honest? People feel safe giving honest feedback? People feel safe admitting their mistakes? Or is everyone hiding and trying to be right at any cost? I'll share with you what are some crucial conversations that all of your managers have to be trained on. All of the people leaders, whether you call them team leads or you call them people leaders or managers, anybody that has people reporting to them, what are the crucial conversations that you need to have with people for them to stay and feel heard? I will touch upon inclusion and belonging, here. And then the last one will be clear growth path. Again, why would people stay and why would they leave? Do they see what's really important to them? So let's start with the team agreements. How are we building our teams? Who are on our teams? Hi, Fiona. Just so you know, I'm also live streaming on LinkedIn. So feel free to turn off your video. I know, you know, some of these things, but it's really about talent retention. And I kind of like went on a little bit. So team agreements, as I said, it's all about how are we forming our teams? Who is on our teams? Who is participating, right? What are the roles and responsibilities? Are people clear? Unless you do this work, and everybody who's in HR, if you're a smaller company, maybe the leadership team, is everyone clear on your team? What are the roles? Who do they go to who for what? Why are they there? What is their job description? What is not on their job description, but they do it all the time? What are the logistics of your meetings? What are the boundaries? By boundaries, I mean, what's okay and what's not okay on your team? What are we going to tolerate? Who are we bringing in? Who are we promoting? Who are we rewarding? Who are we letting go? Those are all we call them explicit team agreements. And the thing is, you probably already have team agreements. Nobody just knows about them. People don't know what they are. Everyone is wasting time thinking like, should I be in this meeting? Should I not be in this meeting? If I have a conflict, who do I go to? Do I talk to my boss or do I go to VP? So those are all the things where people are wasting time and energy because there's no clarity. Then we want to talk about risks and challenges, right? What are the risks for the next 6 months, 3 months, 9 months? What are some challenges that we can anticipate going into the Q2 or going into Q3? Are we talking about those challenges or everyone is just hoping it will go away versus bringing it forward to your team? The big one I hear a lot is like, what's success? What does success look like for a team? How are we celebrating success? What are the metrics? How do we know? What are the benchmarks? I want you to start seeing every team you have, even if it's a team of 2 or 3 people, as a microculture. Like every team, even though you have a global company mission and values, and here's who we hire and here's how we do things around here, but every team is its own microculture. There will be similarities, but there'll also be differences because it depends, like, are we working on the product? Are we customer facing? Are we in marketing? What are our messages? How are we with each other? What are our boundaries? Do we talk on weekends? Do we not? How are we sending emails? How often are we meeting? Do we have to meet every Monday? Or do we have to meet every day? Or do we not have to meet for 2 weeks because everyone is clear what it is they're doing, what it is they're contributing? I also believe that proper team agreements, and we have a whole training on this, proper team agreements will allow you, A, to save time, and B, to really align on objectives, right? What are we trying to achieve as a team? What are we doing as a team? Right? It's so key and will save you so many conflicts and interpersonal disagreements when everything is out in the open. Another key with team agreements, because it allows people to take ownership and responsibility and keep people accountable to what they said they will do. When we have collectively agreed to this is who we are, this is how we are with each other, this is how we do things around here, it allows us to keep people accountable versus micromanaging them. Like now with the remote teams, walking away from this remote teams, I really want you to create an environment, and this is the cultural shift, where everyone, you don't need to micromanage and control people, and you can't, because you are often in a different country, on a different time zone. So do you trust your people that they will do the right thing? Which brings us to trust building. This is so important. I can't stress this enough. And people ask me all the time, they send me an email or LinkedIn, go on LinkedIn right now, send me a message and say, hey, Anya, where do we start changing culture? Like, I know we have toxic culture. People are leaving. We're struggling with retention or attraction. When do we start changing? Where? What's the one thing? And if I was to pinpoint one thing, it's trust. It's building trust with each other, building trust with your leadership team. So many of you inherit teams that are wounded, that are traumatized, that have mistrust, that have been lied to before. And it actually takes double amount of work to rewire and fix relationship instead of setting it up. If you're a new manager, or if you're a new leader, or if you are new on the executive team, I am begging you to spend time on building trust and getting to know your people. This is a famous slide that a lot of people see, right? What is psychological danger? Fear of admitting mistake. I think we've all seen it with Wells Fargo, where they were like millions of dollars in debt because people were afraid to admit that the benchmarks that they set were too high. So they started lying to people selling products. And fear of like admitting mistake, blaming others, not feeling safe to share your views for the fear of being reprimanded or humiliated on your team. Common knowledge effect, where it's like someone said something and everyone is like, yeah, I agree with it. We see this in meetings all the time. When the manager or leader has unreasonable expectations and nobody feels safe enough to say, that's unreasonable, we can't do that, right? So what's the other approach, right? How do we build that safety? How do we give team members permission to admit mistakes? How do we learn from failure? How do we say, hey guys, I know we're going to make mistakes. I know we're going to fail. I know we might not achieve our goals, and that's okay. What can we learn from it? And again, this is not something you just put on a wall. It is something you practice every day, every day. I like to bring analogy of like being in a family, right? We have two teenagers. We have another one who's in grade 4. Building trust is every day in those little moments where they come home and they're like, can I share that I got a B on my test instead of an A? Do I feel safe? And I said, yeah, I feel safe. You can share anything. And then when they share, you're like, oh, how dare you? I told you to work on this. Do you think they're going to share next time? Same thing happens on teams all the time. Someone sends you an email admitting a mistake. Being courageous enough to say, hey, I messed up. Like I sent out this email that had incorrect information. The link was broken, whatever it is. Do you lash out on them, or do you create a space and say, hey, I get it. Like we all mess up. How are we going to fix it? How do we make sure this doesn't happen again? Do we need to put systems and processes in place? Are people sharing ideas in your meetings? Or is it the same two people talking all the time and no one else is saying anything, right? Better innovation, decision making. Again, everyone is so hell-bent on like getting diverse talent. We need to bring diversity. Is your diversity speaking? Are they contributing? Are they at the tables where decisions are being made? Those are all the little things, but they're huge things. Dare to Lead. I wanted to create this slide. And if you go to Brené Brown, Dare to Lead hub, there's a learning hub that has this braving inventory, right? And she talks a lot. All of her research is around boundaries, reliability, accountability, vault, integrity, non-judgment, generosity. Do we hold people accountable? And do we have a positive outlook and intent? Do I trust you or do I mistrust you? We're going to go into it a little bit in our D&I work, right? What is your culture? Do you have skepticism or do you have generosity? Do you believe people are doing their best? Or do you believe that people are trying to get away with things as much as they can? What's the mood? What is the relationship on your team, right? Are people sharing things outside of team meetings? Huge red flag. Do people have meetings after the meetings? Huge red flag. So again, something that I work a lot on, helping companies create psychological safety, helping leadership teams. I'm talking to CEOs saying like, okay, do you have people on your team that trust you? Are they giving you feedback? Are they sharing ideas? And most of them say no, they're too scared. So it's like, well, that's the problem, because then you have no idea what's happening. It's not that your leadership team doesn't want to fix things and want them to make it better. Nobody's telling them what is happening. They have no idea. We go into organizations and people say, well, here's what we need to do. I think our, client or our employees are struggling, with presentations or the way they talk to customers or the way we're not selling enough. And it always comes back down to trust. Do people trust you and tell you what they need? So great resource, free resource, go find it on her Dare to Lead Hub. She talks a lot about being very specific with behaviors. What are some behaviors that corroded trust on your team? And what were specific behaviors that earn trust? It comes to teams, your interpersonal relationships, your relationship with your boss, your relationship with your mentor, your relationship with people that report to you. What are the specific behaviors? Can you pinpoint them? Instead of just saying, well, I don't know how to measure trust. What do we do to build trust? Crucial conversations. I know I'm throwing out a lot of things, and I just want to say, if you stay till the end, I'll tell you how to train your teams on this. I will share with you how we do this work, how you can really set up your managers and people leaders for success. Do your people leaders know how to have crucial conversations? And that comes back to trust, right? Do we blame each other and do we treat each other like incompetent, or do we have enough trust to give direct feedback? Feedback that is based on facts. We feel comfortable talking about impact, different people and how their actions impact our product, how their actions impact relationships, how everybody's actions impact our culture. It's again going back to that collective accountability, collective responsibility for the culture that we have co-created. So do they know how to give feedback, how to give effective feedback? Do your leadership team know how to receive feedback? Are people just shutting down and, clocking out, or are they really receiving the feedback, knowing that someone had enough courage to give me this honest feedback? And feedback sucks, and I receive a lot of feedback. Feel free to leave me feedback in the comments. But this is what helps us grow. And I see it as like, wow, someone loved me enough and cared about me enough to give me this feedback so I can be better. Coaching. Are your leaders trained in coaching skills? Are they listening to their people? Because I think this is the missed opportunity. If I ask you, okay, every fifth person left, 20% employee attrition. Why? Do you know why they left? Do you actually know why they left without the BS answers of like, well, I don't know, they had like better vacation day. We know it's bullshit. People leave because of managers, people stay because of managers. And I'll say it over and over and over. If your people, managers, and leaders are not skilled and not taught, not set up to lead teams, they're not competent in people management skills, you're going to lose talent. So make sure you teach them, what are the coaching skills? Do they know how to have conflicts, open conflicts? Do they take responsibility? Do they have the skills to be able to create valuable content for disagreements, for open conflicts? And again, do we have team agreements, how we're going to handle conflicts? What do we do when we disagree with each other? Who's going to make decisions? How are decisions being made? And then SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, risks, challenges. These are ongoing. It's not like, okay, once a year, we're going to have this feedback conversation. It's time for performance review. No, your managers are coaching, giving feedback, having conflicts, acknowledging strengths, weaknesses, opportunities all the time. This needs to become part of their being. I'm going to jump in and say, we created Manager Development Incubator. It's a 12-month program just for this. How do we help your people, leaders, and managers embody the skills of leadership and people management? Practice it so it becomes natural. I don't set time for coaching. I coach people all the time. I don't set that time, specific time. Okay, hey, we need to talk. Can you come to my office to give them feedback? No, I do it as we go. Someone made a presentation. I'm like, here's what I loved about it. Here's what's so good. Look at the impact it had on people. I loved your body language. Hey, I wish we talked before this presentation because I wanted to share something and I didn't. And it was such a missed opportunity. It's ongoing. It's all the time. So if you are someone who doesn't have onboarding training, you don't have HR resources, you don't have your L&D department, please reach out to us. I will share links. Enroll your managers so we can teach them how to have this crucial conversations to retain talent and to create engagement. I'm going to take a breath. I'm super passionate about this work, and I am on a mission to change corporate culture. Like, that is my life purpose. We spend so much time working. We spend majority of our time working. And I believe we can be effective, productive, happy. People make so much money when they're happy. They create revenue when they're happy. They stay because they love their teams. They stay because they feel like, I belong here. Like, God, we work so many hours. I feel so overwhelmed. And this is where I belong. This is my company. To create a true inclusion, again, we have a whole workshop and training on diversity and inclusion. I speak on a lot of panels. I'd be happy to talk about it, business versus people. There's transactional D&I initiative, and there's transformational. Transactional is about business. It's about competition, hoarding information. Talk about like sales team. In any organization, sales team is set up for competition. That is their job. Who recruited and enrolled more clients this month? Who is working with who? And especially scaling companies, when they're like working with SaaS companies. We do a lot of tech companies. We work with tech companies, develop their talent. They're set up for competition. So can we just acknowledge that and say, okay, we're not going to compete. We are all working here for the same objective. How can we collaborate? Paternalism versus partnership. That's the people side. Are we hoarding information or are we sharing information? Again, for the benefit of all versus the two. Here are rock stars on the team. Our rock stars will give them laptops. We'll give them budgets. Or I like to say, okay, who are the cool kids in the organization? Salespeople, they bring revenue. What about marketing? When was the last time the marketing got updated technology? When was the last time HR got benefits or like rewards? Yeah, they're not the one generating revenue, you know? So it's like information hoarding, information sharing, perfectionism, appreciation of mistakes. It takes a lot to admit a mistake. And that is the first green flag. If people feel safe to say, hey, I messed up, you have psychological safety. Congratulations. Great. So how do you keep it? Individual performance versus team performance. Are we, again, is our team, and I'm talking now to leadership team and executive team, is our team aligned on objective? Are we all working for the same purpose? Or does everyone have their own priorities? And everyone is trying to do their own thing. I have been part of very toxic organizations. I myself have experience where we don't talk to another department. We don't tell them what we do until performance management. We're hiding things because our department is going to contribute to this thing. We're going to get the lowest, you know, what I worked in one of organizations on loss prevention. Super toxic company, not afraid to say it. Super toxic because nobody talked to anybody. We're not having meetings all together. Hey, are we not working for the same company? Are we all having our own priorities that we're trying to deliver on? Fear, again, of open conflict versus constructive feedback. Skeptical management, supportive management, title experience. These are business versus people. And I can go deeper into like, what is your corporate identity, right? What's the identity? Who are you hiring? This is the beautiful dance that is a really challenging. This is tango. Like to create a culture where it's like, oh, for each talent, is this the right job fit? Are they thriving in their role? Like now that I know them, I know their strengths, I know their talents, I know what they're really good at. Often they might not even realize what they're really good at because that is so natural to them. I like to say your genius, so natural to you, you don't even know. Manager fit. Are they fit? Personality type, right? Team fit. Is this the right team for this person? Culture fit. Like we need to go, these are the lenses. Those are the lenses we're looking through at our talent strategies. Who are we hiring? Why? Where are we pulling people from? And again, cultural fit is like really, really damaging kind of like theory, because I believe that instead of fitting people in, like people are constantly evolving and developing cultures. And as I said, every team is constantly evolving. This is the group think, right? Culture fit. So we are hiring the same person over and over and over and over because we know it works. No, you don't know. And the market is so global now. Do you have various perspectives on every team in your company? And are those people being hurt? Whose perspective is missing? I don't know. Do you like look at your diversity, right? Whose perspective is missing? And again, what is the culture we're developing together all the time? What prevents inclusion? Huge topic, big topic. Again, all the leaders must be trained in D&I. All the people leaders, all the managers must be trained in inclusion. Assumptions. The assumption that I know what you need. Hey, here's what you need. Why don't you read this book? Why don't you go to this training? Why don't you do this? Versus like, what do you need? What does support look like? We make assumptions all day, every day. Everyone walks around the organization making assumptions. Oh, I think I know what that department is doing. Oh, I know where Nancy went. Oh, I know about our budget. I know about our accounting. I know. Assumptions, 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 assumptions. Assumptions about each other that are leading to interpersonal conflicts all the time. Biases. Again, when it comes to hiring, promotion, delegation of tasks, assumptions and bias. Oh no, she's a woman. I work with construction companies, and it's like there's a huge biases and assumptions about what women are capable of. Or traveling. Oh, she's a mom. I don't think she wants to go on a big trip. I'm a mom. I love going on trips and getting outside of the house, just like men do. I love going on trips. So it's like, again, stop making assumptions and explore your own unconscious bias. What do you believe about different groups of people, different teams in your organization, and different individuals? Who is being promoted and why? Is it because they have consistently outperformed everybody? But maybe the last 6 months, they actually underperformed. Hey, guess what? Yeah, historically speaking, this has been a high performer. Now that I'm looking, like, am I just promoting them? Like, because it's like, oh, they're a rock star. Or am I looking at everyone's performance, right? Those are the biases, and they slip in so quickly. Remote teams. With the remote teams now, I talk a lot about equality versus equity. Equality is everybody needs the same. People need the same thing. I wish everyone had the same. No, equity says different people need different resources. This is your responsibility with remote teams to, when I talk about diversity, knowledge of different cultures. Don't expect people on your team to educate you on their sexuality, on their culture, on their religion, or their nationality, on their generation. Like, you as a leader, that's your responsibility to learn, what do people need. That's where it goes back to assumptions. I'm like, we're in the circle, right? I assume that, hey, everyone can do a 9 o'clock meeting. I didn't take into account that someone is on a different time zone. I didn't take into account that she is a parent or he is a parent who needs to pick up kids. I didn't take into account that not everybody likes to play golf. Stop making assumptions. Start exploring. Get to know your people. This is where we teach managers. What is diverse hiring? How do we get to know our teams? What works in different cultures, in different regions? Like, if you have teams now who are in Asia, Middle East, West Europe, Eastern Europe, it's all different. They work differently. They deliver differently. They execute differently. This is your responsibility to learn who is on my team. And then the last one is growth conversations. Again, this is the last pillar, being strategic with delegation. Like, are you strategically assigning tasks and projects for visibility, especially when it comes to diverse talent? Women don't get enough visibility because we are working on low impact projects all the time. They're like, oh, why don't you pull some data and then give it to David and David will present to our executive team? No, like, as a leader, again, your responsibility is to be strategic with delegation so that everybody gets exposure on your team, so that everybody is working on these high priority projects that get that visibility, get that influence. And if someone is not prepared, it's your responsibility to say, okay, what are going to be the next challenging assignment to bring this person so that I can delegate them something important? That is your hit and miss. It's like, are we growing people? Or are we just deciding like, oh, he's good at this, so he'll keep doing this thing, losing talent because this person will get tired. We get tired. There's this role exhaustion. Oh, Catherine is always presenting. She's so good at presentations. This one is always getting new clients. People get tired of the same role over and over and over and over. Yesterday, I talked to someone who's like, I am the disturber on a team. I inherit all these new teams to come in, fire everyone, retrain, rehire. She's like, I'm tired. I know I'm good at this, but I'm tired. That's not fair to me. Why am I always playing the role of a bad cop on every team? Visibility and introductions. As queer woman, as a diverse talent with an accent, I always thought, okay, what's the difference between mentorship and sponsorship? Mentorship, right? I'm going to create visibility for you. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share with you my experiences. A lot of companies mentor younger people, right? They'll say, hey, here's how I got here, so let me teach you what it's done. Sponsorship is bringing up someone's name when they're not in the room. And I think that is so generous and so important to say, hey, have you noticed this person? Like, I've seen them work. They're amazing. I want to bring your attention to them. Let me introduce you. Introductions, visibilities. This is how we support our leaders. I think true managers, like good modern managers, care about their people so much that they're not afraid if they make an introduction and one of their key talents leave. That happens. That's okay. But how can I grow you? I'm okay. If this team is now too small for you, I want you to go and explore. I share talent. I don't live in scarcity because I want to be the best manager you've ever had. I want you to leave our company and say, hey, I left the company. This is why. But guess what? They had the best culture. They really valued their people because the word gets around. We live in a global world. It's so small. I just moved to California from Canada. The world is so small. Like, I'm blown away of all the connections. People, we work with same clients and same companies. It's like everybody talks. So when we talk about growth conversations, brainstorm the path. What is their growth path? Here's where they are. Here are the assignments. Here are the projects. It takes a lot of time. But for managers, it's like, what do I need to do in the next 6 months for you to be where you are? Where do you want to go? Coach around fixed mindset. When you hear someone say, oh, no, I'm just not good at this, red flag. For a manager, explore. Why do they believe they're not good at this? What do you need to do to help them get good at this? Everybody on your team has to have shared knowledge because we see so often that, let's say, oh, we had one person who knew Salesforce, one person, and they left. And we are like, we don't know what to do anymore. Create knowledge share pots where people train each other on different skills. Don't rely on that one person. As I said again, role exhaustion and a big risk if nobody else knows. Accountability quarterly. That is another thing I like to talk about. It's like, are we keeping people accountable? And then are we checking in all the time? Don't wait for 12 months and then go to HR and be like, we need to let Nancy go. Why? Oh, she hasn't been performing for like 10 months. Or what did you do? Nothing. Does she know? No. Have you given her feedback? No. Have you coached her? No. But it's time to let her go. That doesn't work this way. Like, you have to have constant ongoing conversations. So here are the 5 pillars, right? I talked about team agreements. Like, are we clear who's on our team? What are they doing? What are their roles? How do we make decisions? How do we celebrate success? Treat your team as your own company. This is your microculture. Then we talked about psychological safety, the importance of building trust. So key, so important. We talked about, I believe, crucial conversations. Do your managers trained? Are they trained in coaching, feedback, conflict, growth conversations, inclusion and belonging? Do they have self-awareness and social awareness about different cultures, about different people on their team and how different people operate, personality types? We don't talk about like, oh, they're men and they're women. Well, men do things like this and women do things like this. No, there are like 20 dimensions of identity. Their educational background, their experiences, right? How they do things, how they see the world, how they operate in the world, what drives them, what motivates them. Then that's the inclusion. And that growth conversation is about being super strategic with delegation and challenging assignments so that you grow your people. Because if your people are leaving, it's on you. And so what are the next steps, right? I like to talk because I attend workshops, seminars, master classes so often. And then I walk away and I'm like, wow, that was good. And now what? Like, what do I do? The most expensive way and the fastest, if you're scaling, if you're hiring like crazy, you've raised funds, or retention is a huge challenge, attraction is a big challenge, bring us in. We're going to do all the lifting for you. We will train your leadership team. We'll train your managers. We will do hard work for you. If you don't have HR resources, if you don't have your own L&D, you're not large enough to create it. And I actually don't believe in having your own L&D internally unless you have hundreds of people. We are your talent development partner. We are your L&D on demand. Bring us in, or you can sign up all of your managers for Development Incubator. This is a 12-month membership where we have diagnostic tools. We'll have ongoing 360 feedback. We'll be giving feedback to them from their team, from their managers, people around them constantly. Month 1, month 3, 6, 12. We have all the diagnostic tools. It's a cohort learning. They'll have access to global community of other managers. So again, you're learning. What are other companies doing? That's my favorite part of being consultant, because I'm not stuck. I'm like, what are companies doing? Who is doing what? What works best? What are the challenges? We have practice pods every 2 weeks. We have community calls. We have our own learning platform where once a month, we teach them one of the critical skills. April 1st cohort, they're starting next week, is going to be all about coaching. We're going to teach them coaching skills. They're going to practice coaching skills with each other. They'll have assignments where they can go and coach their team members. They'll have community calls to debrief their individual challenges. So many of them don't have safe spaces to go and say, hey, I have someone on my team, I don't even know how to manage them. They're causing conflict all the time. There's so much toxicity. What do I do? This is it. Peer community is spaces where you bring and debrief your individual challenges. Maybe you want to complain about your boss. You see your leadership team is not doing anything. It's on you, developing talent. This is a more affordable, it's $397 per employee per month for founding members. It will only be 20 people right now. Founding members, that's going to be the price, and then we're going to increase price for June. This is an incubator that we are starting because I want to have an accessible version of people development for companies that can afford to bring us in and pay us a lot of money. Like, this is where you can sign up 1 manager, 2 managers, 5 managers, and say, hey guys, you're gonna go. Or maybe you have high potentials in mind. You're like, they're not managers yet, I want to promote them in 5 months. Let me enroll them so that culture crafters can develop them in the next 6 months, So when they're ready to be promoted, they know how to build teams. They know how to create team agreements. They know how to coach, and they're set up for success. Again, it's per employee per month. It doesn't matter how many people you're going to sign up. If you ask your HR or your executive team if they have learning fund, often people will use their learning fund to join this program. Some managers choose to pay out of pocket. Honestly, if you want to be amazing for the rest of your life, not just this company, not just this industry, in these 12 months, we're going to teach you critical skills of people management for the rest of your life. Our promise is we're going to give you 10 years of management experience in 12 months. Not just teaching, not just practicing, but being exposed and witnessing all other companies and what they're doing. I have Vanessa here with me. She's one of the executive coaches. Again, she's an executive herself, has led teams for 20 years, has been in VP roles. So it will be me. I design a lot of content, but I'll also have other coaches on my team who will be part of the community. You'll have access to us. We'll have a Slack community where there's ongoing interaction, and we'll have ongoing trainings. Vanessa, do you want to say hi? Again, I can't see. It will allow me to go and see comments.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I don't believe I can be seen on the LinkedIn live stream, but hopefully they can hear me. It's just you who's showing up there, but that's all good. And just to say that I just posted a link in the chat to learn a bit more. And when I think this recording goes live, Anya will also post that link.
Yeah.
And we'll also post a link just for a calendar invite. So you can chat with one of us just to get a bit more detail on the background, how this actually serves and what the ROI is for any of the managers coming in.
Yeah, I love it. And sorry, I feel like I've been talking nonstop. Oh, it's 9:42. I need to see if there are any comments. So please, as I said, message me on LinkedIn, say, hey, Anya, here's what's going on. Call us so we can help you define, like, do you need to what are the solution? What's best for you? Where are you at? How many people are you bringing in? How many people you have right now? It's never too soon to develop your people. Never too soon. Even if you have a team of 15, bring in a couple of your leaders and let's help you craft your culture that is going to be amazing so you can continue to grow. So Vanessa, do we have any, I see links. There's a link for discovery call. Will you be able to also put it in the LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, we'll do.
Okay. I don't see, do we have any, if you guys have any questions, comments on LinkedIn, I don't want to have echo, so I don't have LinkedIn Live. I'll ask you, Vanessa.
There are no questions there at the moment, no.
Okay, so if you have, please, again, this will be recorded. I will save it. I can share slides with you. As I said, we can do it for you. We can help you do it with training your managers, or take this deck and run and like do it yourself. Implement the strategies for talent retention and talent development. These are best practices. This is what every company should do regardless of their size. And I'd be happy to answer any questions, schedule a call with me. If you're not sure which way to go, schedule a call with Vanessa. Would be happy to be your talent development arm and help you develop your talent for retention. That's it. We're good on LinkedIn. Awesome. Okay, yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you, Fiona, for joining. And there are a lot of people who are waiting for the link. So hopefully I can save the recording and share it with everyone. And we'll see you inside the Manager Incubator, April 1st.